Welcome to another episode of our AskReddit series. Today we're diving into one of the most controversial topics out there, alien abductions. These stories are coming straight from real people who swear they've experienced encounters that go beyond this world. From strange lights in the sky to unexplained lost time, and eerie memories that resurface in dreams, prepare yourself for some truly bizarre and unsettling tales. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, these first-hand accounts just might make you question what's really out there. Let's get into it. U/Paul's Reddit username responded. I was abducted outside my cousin's wedding reception. It's all very hazy. There were two of them and they carried these powerful hand torches they kept shining in my face. They could speak a rudimentary form of English. They kept asking questions about how much I had been drinking. I presume because Earth is a water planet, they had questions about what we drank. Contrary to popular belief about anal probes, one of the aliens kept trying to make me put my pants on, not take them off, but I couldn't find my pants just then. The other alien who seemed to be in charge kept talking about disturbing the other wedding guests and he tried to abduct my champagne bottle. Their spacecraft had a lot of bright lights on it, mostly red and blue. They took me to their mothership and put me in a holding area with some other humans they had also abducted that day. The next thing I know, it was morning and I was standing on the pavement downtown outside the police station. I was very fuzzy-headed, but physically unharmed. The whole experience gave me a terrible headache. Then I threw up on the bus. The Atomic Playboy responded. They were grey with big fat eyes, little mouths. They just stared while I peed. I don't think I was dealing with the top brass. I woke up, I had to pee like a camel. So, I started peeing and one of the grey aliens slapped the wall and pointed at the bowl. So I got the hint. I kind of duck-walked over the bowl, peed in it. I had the shirt I came in with but my pants were gone. So, my cuckoo was out. It's full Porky Pig in a drafty dome. I'm starting phase 2, which is me sitting on a stool while 40 grey aliens take turns gently batting my knockers. They were real respectful about it. They were in a line and then one by one, they'd step up, slap a knocker, and then go to the end of line and wait for another turn. It didn't hurt. It felt super off the books. I swear to God, there was one grey alien by a door just kind of peeking in and out. I think he was the lookout. Look, it's not one of my worst Wednesday nights. My grand exit was out of what was basically like a big airplane toilet, okay? I dropped down 7 feet on the roof of a Long John Silver's. They threw out my pants separately. They missed the roof. My slacks landed on a freaking pine tree, 30 feet away. So, I had to just chill up there with my damn cuckoo hanging till the place opened up. U/Queertree responded. I'm incredibly peeved that I can't find a reference for this now, but I read something that shifted my perspective on alien abduction memories. Essentially, the author posited that these are memories from early infancy that burble up and get reconstructed. A bright light, being lifted up floating, distorted human-like faces with prominent eyes, something happening to your genitalia and anus, that's a baby getting a diaper change overnight. Somewhere in our brains those memories are stored in a form that way predates our cognitive abilities' verbal processing, so we have these wisps of feelings and images. In that sense, an abduction experience is absolutely true. I can't remember the explanation for why the memories come back out later, but overall this concept really stuck with me because it makes sense. U/Stinky-Stardust responded. Okay, I never was abducted, but I had this extremely realistic dream probably about 6 to 8 years ago now. Can't remember exactly when, but I still remember vividly. I had gotten in bed and I didn't even remember falling asleep. Next then I knew it felt like I was moving or being carried away by something, but it didn't feel scary. It actually felt quite peaceful and I couldn't find it, nor did I care to. I end up laying on this cold slate, naked, in a bright room, like everything was really light grey-white and there was a bright light coming from the other end of the room. It seemed like there was some kind of equipment or something behind me, but I couldn't turn my head to see. I felt very sleepy and out of it. Standing over me was about 3 to 4 silhouettes that were alien-like, definitely not people. They kind of looked like people but were more lengthy. And they brought out this big probe and probed me because they wanted to make a human-alien hybrid baby to see how it would live. Felt like only a few hours went by and they had gotten their alien baby from me and I was sent back down. Woke up. Weirdest dream ever, lol. I wonder how my little starseed alien baby is doing. Hope they are thriving. U/Wisehongi responded. It was around 3:50 a.m. I'm a night person so I usually sleep around that time. It was starting to rain outside and there was a loud constant gust of wind blowing through the cracks near my window. It was eerie and I had a weird feeling that something bad was going to happen. I looked out the window and noticed nothing amiss except that the trees were swaying pretty violently and that one of the trees got uprooted. I turned back and saw two aliens by my door. They looked haggard and their backs were bent. They also did not have any limbs and their heads moved mechanically as though they were automatons. I noticed that the door was closed, so I presume they had just walked through or teleported straight into my room. They were talking in some strange language that seemed to be half human and half alien, and the next thing I knew, I was being tied up in some giant opaque plastic bag. There were holes so I could breathe. Somehow I fell into a deep and peaceful trance. When I woke up, I was in this foreign space. I could see through the holes in the plastic bag. It was as if I was in the sky and everything was floating. Then I heard footsteps. The ringleader, I presumed, came to inspect me. He unzipped the bag and the moment he saw my face, he lets out an audible "you" and immediately zipped me back up. The next thing I knew, I was back in my bed. You/deleted responded. Coming back from ice fishing, the last day of the year to have ice houses on the lake. My father, sister, and I were in his truck and his friend was towing the ice house. We were coming around the corner and his friend was a little way back. I remember watching his headlights disappear around corner in the passenger mirror. A few seconds later I looked at the little air intake a lot of vehicles in the late 80s early 90s had. You could pull a lever and get some fresh airflow. I looked at that and thought everything was glowing, like I could see all the melting snow on the floor and all around the floor where my feet were. I thought it was crazy bizarre, so I looked up to my father to tell him and he was looking straight forward, white-knuckling the steering wheel, and all around the vehicle there was a white light, not really blinding bright, but like all the windows were frosted and it was daylight out. I kind of shouted, maybe more concerned than anything, "Dad?" I said this a few times and then the light disappeared and we were stopped just around the corner where his friend's headlights disappeared. He looked to he shocked and said, I think we lost Ron, let's turn around here and see what happened." We turned around at a field approach right after the corner and drove 5 minutes back to the lake and his friend wasn't there. Then we drove home and his friend was there. The ice house was already backed into the spot next to our garage and his friend seemed worried. The ice house was big and hard to back into the little spot with just one person, and Ron was already had it in place jacked up on blocks. He said he was coming to look for us since we were almost an hour late. Traveling back to the lake to look for his friend was only a 10-minute drive round trip. You/Anonymous responded. It was a dream, so take it how you want. But I dreamt I was standing out in a field and there was a small creature next to me that was some weird-looking animal I had never seen before. Suddenly there was that cliché beam of light and we started floating upwards into a cliché flying saucer. The inside was all stainless steel and off to the side was a grey alien. That alien and another were speaking to me, but they weren't moving their mouths, as in it was telepathic. They started talking about my dad randomly and showed me videos of him when he was in the Navy on a ship. He was an operations specialist. They then said they were going to show me a different dimension, but I had to prepare first. I was stripped down and sent into a small room, all stainless steel walls. The creature was still with me. They told me she is your guide and will help you, and things will look different in the other dimension, but there is nothing to fear. I wasn't scared at all at any point in time. It felt as if I was at a healthcare facility. As the doors opened, I woke up in bed, but my eyes were closed and I could feel a bird flying toward me. With my eyes closed, I put out my hand and could feel its feathers. It stopped flying and stood on my chest. I opened my eyes and there was a strange bird looking back at me. It looked like a hybrid between an owl and an eagle. Then I actually woke up, but everything in my room looked the same, except for the bird was gone. This all happened years ago, but by far was one of the strangest and most realistic feeling paranormal experiences dreams LVE ever had. You/BYN Cody responded. It went from daylight to dark in a blink. My mom walked by where I should have been, if I was asleep, but I wasn't there apparently, and I'll never forget that. Maybe it was aliens, never figured it out. When I was 7 or 8, during the summer, midday around noon. I'm home sitting by the door, looking into the lagoon waiting for my mom to come home. I blink and it's now nighttime. Quick as that. No fatigue, no sleep, just a blink. Hours have gone by and I'm sitting in the same spot, wide awake, except it's dark out. Just a blink. My mom is in the kitchen making food and playing music. When I go in, she asks where I was. I told her, sitting in front of the door waiting for her to come home. She didn't believe me and chalked it up to being a kid's joke. She's been home for hours now and assumed I was at my friend's house a couple houses over. After that I had a tiny lump on my right shin under my skin. I could roll it around a little with my fingers. It dissolved after about 2 months. If a BB pellet is 4.6 millimeters, It was probably like 1.3 millimeters. I like ginger girls lol responded. I was genuinely abducted by aliens. This isn't a joke. I was driving at night on my own down the M62 motorway in the UK around 3 a.m. for a job I was working. Next thing I know, it's 5 a.m. 2 hours had gone nowhere. I thought I was going or mad something, and when I got home I went to bed. Anyways, when in bed I dreamed about what happened and it came back to me. On the alien craft they put me in a room and I was lying on the floor. The semen was taken from me, but I wasn't orgasming. Then they put an injection into my arm which was this red, rusty-like liquid. I think this was to monitor me. Every few weeks or so I'll wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. and I know LV been back there, but can never remember it. Sometimes I get a feeling that LV been visited or am about to be visited. It's not fun and nobody believes me, but what they're doing is using our genetic makeup to populate other planets with hybrid beings. Bright Midnight responded. I don't know if this counts, but I'll share. Me and my family lived in the country on a dirt road somewhat 30-minute out of town. One night it was getting close to bedtime and my family was just hanging around the living room. When out of nowhere we heard a sound like thunder, but it shook the house. We ran outside and there was a green fog everywhere that hadn't been there before. It was almost like a mist and an emerald green color that was just everywhere. Then a trail of black SUVs began speeding down the dirt road beside us. We had no idea where they came from, but they were driving so fast they were getting airtime at the crossroads where there was a slight dip. They had their headlights off and more started showing up, covering all the dirt roads around us. We all went back inside and watched from inside the house as police lights lit up the night as they closed off the highway that was connected to the dirt road. The next day we watched the news, checked the papers, but nothing mentioned anything except the usual news and the weather. To this day we don't know anything about it, but it was terrifying in an unknown kind of way. U/STAB responded. It was nuts, man. Me and my two small town buds saw a UFO in the woods. A blue light pulled us into the spacecraft and I lost consciousness. I came to and saw a beautiful being made of like a beautiful calming light. The being touched my head and I felt every emotion in its purest form. It was so amazing that I cried. I was wrapped in like a robe made out of warm glowing energy, like a blanket made out of pure love. Although my body stayed on the ship, my consciousness was shown what lies beyond time and space. It was so beautiful. The alien showed my mind the furnace of all creation, what we would call God. To return me to Earth, I was carried down gently in a cradle of light, then placed in a soft bed of wildflowers. The light laid me down like a baby in a meadow near my house. I was smiling and weeping, tears of joy. We were later interviewed by the US government at the Pentagon. U/hypertension 123456 responded. It started with a low light. Next thing I knew they ripped me from my bed and then they took my blood type. It left a strange impression in my head, that I was hoping that I could leave this star-crossed world behind, but when they cut me open I guess that changed my mind, and I might have just flown too far from the floor. This time cause they calling me by my name and the zipping white light beams. Disregards the bombs and satellites. Well, now I'm back at home. And I'm looking forward to this life I live. It's gonna haunt me, so hesitation to this life I give. You think you might cross over, you're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. You better look it over before you make that leap. And I'm fine, but I hear those voices at night. Sometimes they justify my claim and the public don't dwell my transmission cause it wasn't televised. But it was the turning point. Oh, what a lonely night. U/Artanelico responded. I had gone out to get a soda and al pastor TK style tacos at a Mexican restaurant pretty late at night. When I sat down at a table, after placing my order, the lights went out. Someone ended up pushing me out of my chair, causing me to fall to the ground. The person then proceeded to tie my hands behind my back. I was dragged towards the back end of the restaurant, where staff were supposed to be. I was pushed onto a chair and held down by the shoulders. That's when the lights were turned on and a couple of guys standing in front of me started telling me I needed to join the cartel, otherwise LD be harvested for organs, etc. etc. All in Spanish with a heavy accent, easily giving away that they were from Tijuana and had only recent arrived here. After their whole spiel, it gave away that they thought I was a gabacho. However, I actually let them know I was Mexican as well and informed them I was already a member. With a smile on my face, I told them no, I was friends of a high-ranking officer. When I told them to call my friend, you could hear some yelling coming from the other side of the line, and the faces of the guys clearly looked worried. I was promptly released and escorted out of the restaurant, with the guys clearly looking scared and trying to be apologetic. Once I was out, they promptly closed the door to the restaurant and turned off all the lights. I never got my order of tacos, So L left a 1 asterisk review on Yelp and just ended up getting some McDonald's. Overall, it was quite a disappointing night. U/useful by 3646 responded. Hi, I'm late so L imagine this won't be seen. I've never shared this publicly. About 4 years ago I woke up one Saturday morning after dreaming some foreign entity had come through my bedroom window and surrounded me. I had to be somewhere that morning and I went straight to the bathroom to wash my face, brush my teeth, and throw my hair up in a bun. I was going to teach a fitness class so I didn't care what my hair looked like and I never check the back of my hair, just don't care lol. But for some reason that morning I felt this strong urge that I had to. On the back of my neck was a red triangle shape. Almost the color of a burn. I felt immediately panicked, which was weird for me. Like my body knew. To make it even weirder, I'm married and my husband had fallen asleep on the couch that night and I had slept alone. I went to my bed to search for something that could explain it away. Nothing. I sleep on my stomach, quite literally cannot fall asleep on my back. I always sleep with my hair down so there's no clip or hair accessory that could have done it and I don't wear clothes. As I drove to teach I was constantly checking thinking maybe it has gone away, it didn't. It stayed for 3 days. The roads were empty that morning and the only car on the road in front of me was a license plate without any numbers, just my 3 exact initials. U/Flamingo Fan 101 responded. I was taking a walk in the woods when all of a sudden I heard a humming noise so loud yet so dull, so piercing yet so quick, then all of a sudden I blink and wake up in what I presume is an alien ship, but the weird thing is there are no buttons, there is nothing in similarity to how UFOs are presented in movies. I am in a seat sitting in darkness and the only thing I can make out is dark red glowing eyes. When they approach I see that there is no normal being as they are jellyfish-like in nature, all they have is eyes and a body that floats. Then they take me to the future of the planet and show me how Earth remains just as now but everyone is gone because of climate change. I cry at this but then they say you still have time, just try spreading more awareness about this rather pressing issue. I feel like these are extremely intelligent beings as they at first spoke in clicks and taps but then switched to English as soon as they saw me. I will heed to their warning as they said if I and many others don't take care of this beautiful planet around us then it will be lost like theirs and our only choice will be to perish or move into space eternally. Then I woke up in a pile of bushes near my house and went home and tried to process such a big revelation and trying to think of my next plans and well, here I am trying to bring a little more awareness. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like and subscribe for more videos like this one. If you enjoyed this video and want to dive even deeper into our community, consider becoming a channel member. Members get exclusive perks like early access to videos, custom emojis, shoutouts, etc. And it's a great way to support the channel so I can keep bringing you the content you love.